10 psychological facts that will blow your mind. The human psyche works in mysterious ways. If you were to uncover all the mysteries the human mind holds, you'd be awestruck. Isn't it amazing how everyone's perceptions of life, death, cosmos, religion, and spirituality differ? Guess what? It all depends on one's psyche. While thinking, analyzing, and emotional responses vary, some psychological traits are common among many people. It's fascinating how human minds can be so different yet so similar at the same time. If the wonders of the human mind interest you, these 10 psychological facts will blow your mind. Number 1. Your mind is wired for public validation. If people disagree, you second guess yourself. No matter how confident you are, if the people around you don't validate your opinion, you are bound to second guess your abilities. It happens commonly in our everyday lives. Remember back in school, your friend said your answer to the teacher's question was wrong, so you never raised your hand? Sadly, someone else gave the same answer and you got furious at your friend for telling you otherwise. The human mind makes it crave other people's validation. If someone approves your views, you feel much more confident and empowered, even if you were not sure earlier. Number 2. Original plans are less likely to work out if you prepare a backup plan. Did you know that having a backup plan means more chances of your original plan backfiring? Definitely not. The University of Pennsylvania conducted some interesting experiments and found shocking results. According to the experiments, people who made a plan B had more chances of plan A failure. Your mind is a complex of multiple capabilities. Making a second plan if things go wrong can be because of 2 reasons. You're either not confident about your first plan and your mind warns you that it'll go wrong, or you know that the situation is not going to work out well according to plan A. In both cases, you're less likely to put effort into plan A than plan B. Plan B is supposed to be your lifesaver, so you unintentionally work harder for it. However, people who focus on a single plan are more likely to meet their goals. Number 3. Strict rules cause more harm. The human mind is rebellious. Maybe that's why it has led massive revolutions throughout history. Wherever the rules are rigid and laws extreme, people tend to break much more of them than they usually would. That is why overly strict parents often raise sneaky kids, and children from such families tend to break more rules while growing up. On the other hand, leniency teaches better self-control. However, healthy discipline is always right. Number 4. Dividing information into smaller sections makes learning easier. Our minds are unable to store large pieces of information at a single time. People are more likely to remember the start and ending instead of the whole thing. To memorize something fully, our minds makes us divide stuff into smaller chunks. That's why it is easier for school-going children to learn spellings when you divide a word into smaller sections. Even as an adult, we are unable to digest huge pieces of information. Have you ever tried memorizing a friend or family member's phone number? You usually break it down into smaller sections to make it easier to store in your memory. Number 5. Students become what you expect from them. Everyone knows Albert Einstein's mother's story, who didn't read him the actual letter by his elementary school teacher and boosted his confidence instead. While this story has faced many objections and may or may not be correct, its moral is a psychological fact. Teachers play an essential role in everyone's lives. We've often heard that teachers know the capabilities of their students, but do they really? Well, it is not entirely accurate, and psychology tells us why. According to psychology, people grow according to the expectations attached to them. If you boost the confidence and morale of relatively slow learners, they will start performing better over time. If you belittle the efforts of bright students, their grades start declining. All of these changes are unintentional but can have severe consequences in the long run. Number 6. Most people consider long-term deadlines unimportant. It is common for people to ignore work with long-term deadlines. Almost every other person loves to hang out with friends and lets days pass without working unless the dead end arrives. Your mind is designed for energy conservation. The more you work, the more energy your brain draws from the body. It is instilled in our minds to stay idle or lazy unless the deadline is near. It may be a form of energy conservation. However, you can train your mind to do things on time or even earlier. Number 7. Loneliness can be as bad as smoking. Smoking causes severe harm to your health. But did you know that loneliness can be just as lethal? According to research published in the Indian Journal of Psychiatry, loneliness can harm as much as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Wait, what? Your mind impacts your body in multiple ways. When you're overwhelmed with loneliness, you're not only fragile emotionally, it decreases immunity and boosts inflammation, resulting in heart conditions and other chronic diseases. Number 8. It takes 5 happy moments to move on from one negative one. Ups and downs are common, and everyone goes through them. Some moments are filled with joy and bliss, while others can be hurtful and even traumatizing. It's interesting how people can forget the happiest days of their lives after passing through a single event that hurts them and don't cheer up that easily. Well, psychology explains the solution. It takes almost 5 happy events to forget a single bad one. Human minds take a larger impact from negativity than positivity. Usually, the positivity has to outweigh the bad stuff to make you feel good again. Number 9. Intelligent people don't give themselves enough credit. Being humble is the sign of a good and intelligent person. Intelligent people tend to underestimate their abilities and never give themselves enough credit. They believe that they're not perfect and thus consider that there's always room for growth. This is what makes them reach success and appreciation with time. On the other hand, people with low cognitive abilities overestimate their mental skills and limit their improvement chances. Psychology explains this as the Dunning-Kruger effect. It is a cognitive bias that makes people with low cognitive skills to form notions about them being superior to the other and having the utmost knowledge. Number 10. Spending on others makes you happier than spending on yourself. Who doesn't love getting new smartwatches and fancy bikes? After all, these things make you stand out from the rest. You get attention, your friends love hanging out with you, and it makes you happy, right? Wrong. While there's no problem in spending money on oneself or for one's pleasure, true happiness comes from being compassionate to others. You see, our brains are wired to get tired of our costly possessions with time. No matter how much you love your sports car, you'll grow out of its craze with time. You'll want something new or something different. However, spending on others makes you happier, and this happiness lasts longer. It gives your mind the satisfaction of serving a higher purpose in life. The University of British Columbia, in a research study, revealed that people who spend on others experience more happiness than those who spend on personal possessions. Surprisingly, money does buy happiness, just not in the way that most people think.